Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we've got a source document that honestly reads less like a sports report and more like a dramatic script.
It really does.
We're looking at the DNL Academy's opening game of Season 3. A huge win. A real nail-biter against Maccabi.
And this document is just a fantastic piece of analysis. It shows how a tight game isn't just luck. It's about tactics, preparation, and, moments of individual brilliance.
Right. So our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to pull out those key moments, the things that really define the win.
Exactly. We're talking about this spectacular pace bowling, some incredible heroics behind the stumps, and one absolute critical batting partnership.
For sure. And the scene was set before a ball was even bowled. The report paints this picture of a beautiful day, though it was kind of bookended by some weather stress. And it started with a formal cap presentation to Dean and Max Pennington. It shows has this great line about the baggy pinks atop those tall frames.
Yeah, a real sense of occasion. Those are the new team caps sort of cementing the start of the season.
But, all that sentimentality, it went right out the window the second the coin went up.
So the first big strategic decision. The captain wins the toss, which, the source notes, is a bit of a rarity for him.
Right.
And he chooses to bowl first on what's described as a deck with a fair bit of juice.
Which, for anyone less familiar, just means the pitch was perfect for fast bowling. Green, a bit damp, ready to make the ball move.
And that choice paid off immediately, all because of the opening bowlers, Joey and Gabe.
This is where you can see the evolution of talent, really. The report says they've gone from being just dangerous to outright ridiculous.
That's such a great description.
It is. It wasn't just about containment. Their whole mindset was, we are going to hit the stumps with every single ball.
And that threat became very real, very fast. Joey gets a double breakthrough.
Yep, one caught behind by Pennas, a great catch, and the other one was just clean bowled, middle stump.
And Gabe, on the other end, even without a wicket early on, he just gave nothing away. The consistency was key.
I love the local slang the source uses to describe their bowling. It calls it true Jats crackers, fizzing and popping in the air and off the deck.
Which is just the perfect way to put it. It means the ball was fast, spitting off the pitch, totally unpredictable. A nightmare for the batsman.
Exactly. So the pace created all this pressure, but the real story of that innings, the thing that swung the entire match, it wasn't just the bowling.
No, not at all. This is where the analysis gets really compelling because the source argues that the true tactical hero of the day was Jay Pennas, the wicketkeeper.
Right. The report literally says his effort was the game right there.
And we should probably break down why that statement is so significant. Let's talk about buys for a second.
Yeah, good idea. So a buy in cricket is basically a run the batting team gets for free. The batsman misses the ball, but the wicketkeeper also misses it and it runs away.
It's a gift. An unforced error that gives the other team runs.
And the difference in gifts here is just staggering.
It's unbelievable. DNL conceded a big fat 0 buys. 0.
While Maccabi, the opposition, gave up 25.
25 runs. And the source details the effort from Pennas. He volunteered to keep for all 35 overs, and it says he made about 20 dives down the leg side.
Just throwing his body on the line to save every single run.
Exactly. And that 25-run difference, that's the whole game. The source makes this point so clearly. Both teams had guys who scored runs, both had bowlers who took wickets. Those efforts basically canceled each other out.
But that 25-run deficit, created purely by one guy's grit behind the stumps, it neutralized everything else.
It really forces you to rethink who the MVP is, doesn't it? It's not always the person hitting boundaries. Sometimes it's the person doing the unglamorous, painful work that no one notices until you see a stat like that.
And you have to remember the context, too. Maccabi's best batsman, Toby Gelbert, he went on to make 50, but he was controversially not given out early on.
Right, he nicked one.
So if DNL had gifted away even 10 or 15 buys on top of that, that target of 153 would have felt completely out of reach. That 0 was a lifeline.
So yeah, DNL holds Maccabi to 153. A chase that after lunch felt, and I'm quoting here, totally gettable.
It started well enough. James and Jay Penn got going. They were helped by 5 wides from the bowler straight away. But
then the crisis point.
It all went wrong so fast, it just shows you what pressure can do. James edged one to the keeper. Max Pennington was castled.
Which is a great term. Just means clean rolled, stumps everywhere, a perfect delivery.
And then Dean Pennington holed out, trying to hit a big shot, caught on the boundary. Yeah. And just like that, they're in a massive hole. 3 wickets down for only 21 runs.
That's the emotional low point of the game, for sure. You're chasing 153, and suddenly it feels like 253. The pressure on the next guys in would have been huge.
And this is where the rescue mission begins. The scorebook says Greg Barton comes out to join Sam at the crease.
And what they did next was just classic cricket, a 93-run partnership.
93 runs. They dragged the team from that disaster at 3 for 21 all the way to 4 for a 113. They put the win right back on the table.
And it's so important to look at how they did it, because they played such different complementary roles. Sam was the anchor.
The source really praises him for turning over the strike in a whole new way. It suggests he wasn't just defending. He was actively managing the run rate, finding the gaps.
And showing, quote, exquisite timing and resolute defense.
There's also a great line about him keeping the old man's knee honest with quick singles and doubles. He kept the scoreboard ticking, which released so much pressure.
And the source is definitive. It calls it his best innings for the DNL Academy. That's high praise.
It is. So while Sam was the rock, Greg Barton was the imperious stroke play.
Yeah, and the report does some great analysis here. It addresses a rumor that Greg rode his luck.
Right.
But the source material just flatly contradicts that. It says his shots were decisive and well-controlled.
And you can see it in the numbers. He starts cautiously. He's on 13 runs off 22 balls, just getting himself in.
And then he just hits the accelerator. He races to 28 off his next 8 deliveries. Just some fantastic boundaries.
He eventually got out for 40 off 50, but the damage was done. The source says it was one of the best innings from both players in the Academy's history.
Which raises an interesting point from the source itself. Greg's 40 was flashy and aggressive, and it grabbed the headlines. But Sam's quiet, disciplined innings, that was the groundwork. That's what allowed Greg to go out and play his natural game. It forces you to value that resilience just as highly as the boundary hitting.
But even after that incredible 93-run partnership, this is DNL. It's never simple. The jitters came back with a vengeance.
Oh, yeah. Greg's dismissal triggered a mini collapse. Joey was out for a duck. Then Penose got cleaned up by what the report calls a spearing Yorker.
The worst ball to face. That fast, low delivery right at your feet. Almost impossible to play.
So now the pressure cooker is really on. They still need 28 runs, but the tail-end batsmen are exposed. The tension was just, you could feel it.
Yeah, and, full disclosure here, the source mentions the next batsman out. Was me. I managed to survive the fast bowler's last over, but was ultimately bowled with 7 runs still needed. The job was left undone.
And then it got even more dramatic. Harry P. is given out LBW leg before wicket.
And the source calls it a shocker of a decision. Just a questionable call at the worst possible time. Everyone was stunned.
This is just classic DNL, isn't it? Finding the most complicated way to get to the finish line.
Absolutely. So Harry's out, and that brings Gabe back to the crease. And this moment is just loaded with history.
The report references this nightmare from 2 years ago, a hat-trick loss in the rain where they lost by 1 run, and a young Gabe was involved.
So you can just imagine the emotional baggage he's carrying out there. And the conditions are getting worse. The wind is picking up.
Yeah, the source has this great detail. The frog box tumbling over was seen as a bad omen, the little camera they use.
But Gabe, now described as a seasoned campaigner, he just showed so much maturity.
His decisiveness was key. He sees the cavalry of pink baggies, the S1 boys arriving from another game, and he just feeds off that energy.
He does. He lofts the drive, works the singles, and then, with the scores tied, he just goes for it.
Over the top of mid-on, clears the field, secures the win with 4 balls to spare. A brilliant finish.
Such a great finish. And the closing image from the report is just perfect. The whole team mobs Gabe, totally oblivious to the fact that the heavens opened up at that exact moment.
The celebration was bigger than the rain, a perfect way to seal a 1-0 start. So if we pull back and look at the whole picture, the source really gives us a clear formula for how they won this game.
It does.
It was built on, first, the ridiculous pace of Joey and Gabe at the start, then the absolutely massive game-winning deficit erased by Jay Pennis's 0 bias. The grind. And finally, the sheer composure of Sam and Greg Barton to build that 93-run foundation when the game was pretty much lost.
It really was a total team effort, wasn't it? It went beyond the players on the field. The source gives a shout-out to the tight fielding, a special thanks to Maz and even the support crew. Bridget Pennington's scones and brownies get a mention.
Next level scones, I believe. Every little bit counts.
It does. And that brings us to the final, I think, really provocative thought from this whole report. It's the closing line of the source material.
Yeah, this really gets to the core philosophy of the team. It says, winning really doesn't matter to us. Cricket is just the excuse, but geez, isn't it great? Not only when we do, but when we do it our way too.
It's such a powerful distinction, isn't it? They're not just celebrating the win, they're celebrating how they won.
Exactly. Through that discipline, that teamwork, that commitment to the grind, that's perfectly summed up by Pennis's heroics.
It really is.
And this raises a bigger question, I think. Something for you, the listener, to think about, and it goes way beyond cricket. When you achieve something, in your own life, business, sport, a personal goal, what does it actually mean to win your way? Does it mean sticking to your values, even if it requires that painful, unglamorous 35-over commitment behind the stumps? I think that's the real insight the DNL Academy delivered on opening day.
A great thought to end on. That's all for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.